May 13th, 2025 for the Lake Worth Beach Community Redevelopment Agency. Roll call, please.
Mr. Daniel Morgan,
Here.
Mr. Drew Bartlett,
Here.
Ms. Leah Hurt,
Here.
Ms. Caroline Shamshi-Bacha,
Here.
Ms. Carla Blackson.
Here.
Please note Ms. Donna Kerner and Ms. Ann Fairfax are present via Zoom.
Here.
Well, that doesn't help.
If you just want to make a motion to authorize the appearance via Zoom for Commissioners Fairfax and Kerner, that would be appropriate.
Someone please make the motion.
Motion to allow Commissioner Ann Fairfax and Donna Kerner to join us via Zoom.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Here we go. Thank you. Are there any additions, deletions, or reorderings of our agenda for tonight?
Madam Chair.
Mhm.
If it's if everybody's okay with it, I was wondering if we could add one discussion item, or maybe have it added to next month's agenda. I wanted to discuss the possibilities of temporarily converting the L&M parcels into an area where people can do communal gardening. I would like to add that to today's agenda if possible. If not, maybe we can add it to the next.
I would,
Those parcels are subject to a purchase and sale agreement, so I'd be hesitant to take any action with respect to those parcels this time.
I would still like to maybe have like a formal discussion about it if the other commissioners are willing to.
I mean, if you want to do it, you put it on for your next agenda.
my dilemma of putting it on for the next agenda is that we're going to have a whole discussion of it and we won't be able to do anything about it because we are limited by those purchase and sale agreements. And so we could listen to your comments if you would prefer to do that. But I, as a body, do not want to take any action that's going to impede the purchase and sale agreements. But I'm welcome to hear from the rest of you.
I suggest we talk about it during board comment.
Okay. Would that be amenable?
Yeah, if we don't have a unanimous consent, then I suppose we'll bring it up during board comment.
Okay, thank you. Ann and Donna, if you have a comment or something, raise your hand if I don't see you or just speak, okay?
Thank you.
Because I may not catch you when you have a comment.
Okay. Sounds good. Just,
At this time, we're going to have public comment on non-agenda items. If you would like to make a public comment, please approach the podium. Okay, if you'd review the minutes from April 6, 2025, and note if there's any corrections or changes, and then we can have a motion.
I'll move to approve the April 8th, 2025 minutes as written.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like a motion for the consent agenda. The approval for the interlocal with the City of Lake Worth Beach for auditing services. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any public comment? Oh, or we don't have public comment on the consent agenda. I'm sorry. And, okay, let's have it for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're all the way to the action agenda and we've only been here probably 10 minutes. I think we're gonna break a record.
let's do it.
Action agenda, please.
Okay, very excited to have Tim Wheat here from Pinnacle. We discussed a project, I believe it was last year, when we were also discussing Madison Terrace. Both projects were going for the low-income housing tax credits. Only one of them got it, which would be Madison Terrace, and as you know, they're under construction right now. This particular project would be on 6th near H, so it would be just west of where the Dunkin' Donuts is, on property that was assembled by Dixie Capital over the last probably about 8 years. Originally, the owner of it had plans to do more of a market rate project, but as inflation and times changed, now he's willing to do a project, or I should say, sell the land to Pinnacle. So the project would be, I'm not going to get too much into it because Tim has a great presentation, but it would be I think it's a 55-unit project. The average income for people to rent it would be about 60% of AMI. It's definitely compatible with the surroundings. It's only 4 stories and 2 buildings, and there will be on-site parking. There will also be a little bit of, I wouldn't say a commercial use, but have some live work units also closer to 6th Avenue. So there's a little more activity on it. And the CRA staff is supporting the local match of $640,000 for them to go forward and to try to get the funding this year. And if not this year, then the year after that. So at this time, I'd like to ask Tim to come up, please. Does he need one of these?
Good evening.
No liquor. Not the technical issue you were thinking about, right?
Now press the button. Good evening.
Evening.
Thanks for having me. My name is Tim Wheat. I'm with Pinnacle Communities. And with me is my associate, Greg Gabriel, our representative, Neil Schiller with Government Law Group, and Lucille Hinders, who will be our architect on this development. So as Joan alluded to a year ago, we appeared before you to present our concept for Pinnacle on 6th. And in the last year, since we were unsuccessful in the Florida Housing Finance Cycle funding round, but Madison Terrace was, which is great news for the city, we have worked to try to perfect our program a bit because last year we could not compete in a special designation called the Local Government Area of Opportunity designation that Florida Housing Finance Corporation sets up for developments such as this. And we wanted to very much to compete in that because it gives us a greater certainty of potentially winning and securing these all-important tax credits to do our development. So we spent a lot of time brainstorming. We got a lot of input from you and a lot of input from the city commission and a lot of input from community members that spoke about the development. So we've tried to sort of pour those thoughts and input into it. And we asked Lucille to help us come up with a concept for this. So, and the screen just went out. Okay, we'll go to this screen now. So I'm going to walk you through a brief presentation and kind of show you our vision for the development. And And then I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. So we'll go with the first slide. A little bit about us, just to refresh your memory. We've been around since 1997. We own or have developed, sure.
Apologies.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
You can continue. I
Okay.
can hear you, but
Okay.
I thought they could go away.
All right, the feedback. Okay. So again, we've been in business since 97. We've developed about 11,000 units. We have 2 communities here in Palm Beach County. I'm based in West Palm Beach, and I'm a Palm Beach County native. And we've developed here in Palm Beach County a development called Pinnacle Palms, which is a 152 unit senior affordable community in West Palm Beach, right near the Outlet Mall, and Berkeley Landing, which you'll hear a little bit about in Riviera Beach in a moment. So what we do is we bring a lot of unique style to our communities. We have a motto at Pinnacle that if it looks like it's affordable, then Pinnacle didn't develop it. And we try to bring a unique style and a unique approach to each of our developments, which we top off with art in public places. And one of the things that I know about Lake Worth Beach and I know about the CRA is promoting the arts. And we gave a lot of thought to that since you saw us a year ago. And I hope you're going to like the strategy we've taken. We're taking advantage of a unique provision in the tax code that even a year ago I didn't know about. So stay tuned for that. Again, I'm trying to build some excitement here. So art in public places is a big part of what we do. Joint ventures, public-private partnerships, working with nonprofits and working with communities to have great outcomes on affordable housing is what Pinnacle has been about. Next slide, please. Oops. That is the first slide. Okay. So development highlights, Berkeley Landing, which I mentioned last year and again earlier this evening. We developed that on US 1 in Riviera Beach. There are 2 sculptures there, one by noted, internationally known artist Romero Brito, 110 units of affordable housing, and 2 live work spaces, which are now occupied by 2 community entrepreneurs, one of which leads the Black Business Coalition of Riviera Beach and is now used our development as sort of a clearinghouse for local businesses to come in and get connected, find out how to get services and to grow their businesses. So that's really turned out well for us. So the live work concept is something we've done in a number of our developments, including Berkeley Landing, with some success. And as a result of that, I'm sure you're all familiar with the Florida Redevelopment Association. Berkeley Landing was chosen as the best large city housing development in Florida in 2024. Next slide, please. Pinnacle 441 in Hollywood is a 2-phase development that is mixed use and also mixed income, has 6,780 square feet of commercial along State Road 7 in Hollywood, which is a heavily traffic corridor with like 60,000 trips a day. And the first phase was 113 residential units, including 1 live workspace. And then phase 2 is another 100 units. And development of that corridor was deemed desperately needed by the city of Hollywood. They had been incentivizing it for years, and they created an overlay district that encouraged things like public plazas. So we created a feature plaza with art in public places and commercial along State Road 7, but other uses like live workspaces further back, which we did off of State Road 7 on Johnson Street. So that development was chosen as the best affordable housing development of 2024 by the South Florida Business Journal. So we're very proud of those designations for those developments. So back to Pinnacle on 6th. We've taken what Dixie Capital Partners assembled, which is 10 parcels of 2.01 acres located on either side of South H Street, south of 6th Avenue South. And now we propose, last year we were at 90 units. This year we believe we can get up to 92 units. in our design visioning exercise that we worked with Lucille, it might wind up coming back down a few units, but right now we're trying to do the best we can in terms of maximizing the availability of affordable units, which are so desperately needed. A blend of studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom units, which are predominantly tilted towards 1-bedrooms because we're looking at sort of seeing the local workforce and people that live and work in Lake Worth Beach and need quality, affordable housing. The thing that I've been teasing here is the 4 units, we want to do a leasing preference for artist studios. What we do under Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Service Code, which is the underlying code that allows us to receive housing tax credits and syndicate those tax credits to raise equity for our developments. There was a little known provision in Section 42G of the code that I did not know about that said that what's called the general use rule, which means you can't limit occupancy of these type of finance developments to any particular group or individuals that aren't otherwise called out under federal fair housing law, like the disabled or homeless or seniors aged 55 or 62 plus. It said it allowed for a certain exemption under that general purpose rule for artists and people in literary and visual arts. And I said, what a perfect opportunity to do something like that in Lake Worth Beach of all places, because this is one community in Palm Beach County that nurtures the artist community. So, and you'll see in our work a little bit later, what we did is tried to create a front studio in those 4 units. So a resident can live behind and then have a studio where they can display their art and then have people come in and visit with them, purchase and barter in exchange for the sale of their work, or just otherwise display it. So, and we have included, and you'll see all those as well, is that we've got a pavilion in the rear of the development that we want to create sort of an art walk plaza that perhaps our residents or others in the community can display visual art and gain interest, perhaps sell, market their product, or at least, let people in the community know about them. So we want to be sort of the central focal point for that. And, the phrase struggling artist has a lot of meaning, There's no doubt that that is the case. And, we want to be, artist friendly with this development as part of our overall plan. So, and again, we'll have all of the amenities we talked about last year with a cyber lounge, fitness, outdoor, art walk plaza, and highly durable improvements in our development in both inside the unit and on the perimeter. We could go to the next slide, please. This is just a aerial of sort of what I'll call the existing conditions and the site, which is, it's really 3 parcels, the one little small parcel to the very south on 7th, and then the 2 main parcels. If we could go to the next parcel, the next slide, please. It's just, yeah. The feedback. Unfortunately, I'm not hearing it. And here are some pictures of some of the existing conditions. The area and the site is somewhat underutilized, to say the least. And we think what we'll do is a great improvement. And you're going to see that now with the next slide. Oh, first, got to talk about the rent structure. So our proposed plan is to structure units at an average of 60% of the area-wide median income. So Palm Beach County's median income now is shockingly $111,800 a year for a family of 4. And it went up 9% in the last year. So for the 60% area median income limits for a 2-person household, that's $56,000. For a 4-person household, that's 70,000. We're not talking about people that are on, minimum wage employment situations, although the minimum wage here in Florida is much higher than the national minimum wage. But what we do is we have the average rent will be at 60% of median income. So about 15% of the units will be at the lower 30% level. Then a substantial amount at 60%, and then another substantial amount at 70%, getting us to an average of 60%. And I wanted you to see each of those projected rents at each of those income tiers. So that's how the affordability will work in this development. And they're subject to adjustment annually as HUD will publish, usually in April, new median income guidelines and new maximum rents that we can follow. Next slide. So this is a conceptual site plan of the proposed development, kind of gives you a building layout, not terribly dissimilar to what we showed you all last year, but our visioning didn't really go beyond just a conceptual site plan. So, you know, we have ample parking, and as was mentioned earlier, the two main buildings, buildings A and B, would be 4 stories. Next slide, please. So this gives you a little bit of a visioning of what the development looks like. The upper left is the little plaza I was telling you about, that pavilion where we could use it to display art or to have social gatherings for our residents or for the community as a whole. The upper right is a green wall, which would be on the extreme southwest corner of the building. So if you're driving eastbound on 6th Avenue South, you'll see this green wall as we get the vines to grow up the mesh there. And then along 6th Avenue South, lower left, are some of the artist studios that would face the street. Those are 2 of those 4 units. The other 2 face on H, right? South H. And then the lower left is just a different perspective, or lower right, excuse me, is a different perspective from 6th Avenue South looking at the building. Next slide, please. And then Lucille did a great job with Greg's drone of, you know, flying it to give you a perspective of the building from all sides. So again, as Joan said, compatible with the surrounding neighborhood in terms of height and scale, and, you know, really attractive blend of colors and a very eye-catching modern design. So next slide, please. So in all of our developments, we focus on the quality of our interior improvements because we're aiming for a long-term durability. So obviously storm security with impact-resistant windows, a flat roof, a TPO roof that'll last for 30 years. You know, we'll do hard surfaced countertops, European style cabinets, Energy Star rated appliances, builder grade PVC blinds. And with the last couple of developments, we've gotten excellent buys on solar shades. So we'll most likely use solar shades here, and will be adaptable and accessible under the Americans with Disabilities Act. And each building will have interior corridors and a controlled access entry into the building. Next slide, please. And this is just an idea of your typical common area amenities. There'll be a fitness room, common gathering area. And we like both our outdoor spaces and our indoor spaces, including a cyber lounge. So areas for folks to gather, for people to spend some time, you know, if they need the, you know, a larger monitor than they might have in their unit, and or print something, and obviously stay fit and happy and healthy. Next slide. So our request tonight, as I mentioned, is what's this local government area of opportunity. And it will, the $640,000, if committed by the CRA and then by the city commission, is contingent on us obviously getting our financing. We don't get $1 of it until we close on all of the other $39 million of financing for this development, because our projected costs in today's environment is $40 million. I read an article yesterday about how the Board of County Commissioners were shocked and surprised at how much affordable housing costs. Well, it costs the same as to build anything else here. And our costs are, you know, that $40 million is pretty much in line with, you know, everyone else's experience. But again, the vast majority of those costs, about 75%, are the syndication of these tax credits. Then there'll be some private mortgage financing, and the city and CRA's LGAO commitment, which will leverage those tax credits. So you're getting, you know, a 1:60 leverage ratio on your investment in Pinnacle on 6th. And as we asked, and we have requested a 2-year commitment for the LGAO, it gives us some certainty. It is a competitive process. There will be other applications from Palm Beach County. we feel confident that we can prevail this year, but we would like the opportunity to continue to work with Dixie Capital, keep this opportunity together and provide some consistency to us and you all, knowing that we'll continue to work together to try to make this development happen. Next slide. And in closing, I say thank you. And we're really grateful for this opportunity to be considered for this financing. We know it's the CRA is a high achieving organization that you should be very proud of your accomplishments in the area of affordable housing. We hope we can do more for emerging members of your workforce and people that really need this housing here in Lake Worth Beach. So I thank you for your time, and the team and I are available to answer any questions you have. Sure.
How would you go about determining what artists would be eligible for these subsidized lofts?
I think we're going to need some guidance from you on that. I mean, we'll want to do some serious listening about that. Okay.
In your experience in the industry, how do it's usually like?
But I've never done a special set aside like that before, and I'm being candid that provision of the tax code we have not taken advantage of. I can tell you this: the demand will be high, and we may have to have some kind of an objective measuring stick. I don't know. What we'll have to do is let everyone know this preference exists. Try to take applications on a separate track for just those 4 units, and probably have an opening and closing period similar to what we did at Pinnacle 441. Let me tell you about that because it's been a year. When we first started talking about leasing, we were overwhelmed with activity. So we decided, which we've only done one other time in the company's history, we did a lottery. For 113 units, 21,000 people registered for the lottery. Well, 24,000, we filtered out 3,000 duplicates and people that tried to use the same email and phone number and 4 times. So, but 21 legit entries. So on phase 2, we wound up we consulted with our fair housing attorney. We did a local residency preference for only Broward County residents because under fair housing law, we were advised not to narrow it any further to not create a disparate impact. So that reduced the lottery to a whopping 11,000. So we're talking large numbers here, and the demand, I suspect, will be similarly high, and we may need to set up I don't know about a lottery, but a registration process that's on a separate track for those who would want to live there who are artists. And we may need to do one for what I'll call the general population as well. And we'll gauge that working with you all as we move forward, because I think we'll get a lot of excitement as construction builds. It's just the nature. We'll be on a very busy corridor. People will see us from 2 sides and they'll wonder what's going on there. And the demand for this is so great.
My concern is that these artist lofts, or this investment that this city and this body has done into promoting Lake Worth as an artistic area, seems to have gone over in a way that's almost like disingenuous. I don't doubt there's a lot of talented individuals in the city, but from the investments that this body has done, I don't think much fruit has come from it, in my opinion. I worry about government bodies picking and choosing what kind of art or artists get these kinds of benefits. I would prefer it if you would just focus on delivering the most affordable housing and not get caught up on these attempts to be something more. Also, from what I understand, like the vision of an art district or an artistic area is usually supposed to be focused in an area such as, west of the tracks here. But now we seem to have artist lofts over here, over there, down there. So if it makes it any cheaper or any easier or streamlines it in any way, I would recommend and hope that you just focus on delivering affordable housing to the residents.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with Daniel on that. I do like the redevelopment. I do like what you've got conceptualized there. Does this give you extra credit or something like that by doing
The
this? 'Cause
artist thing? No,
it doesn't.
no.
Okay.
So we're open to it. I guess if we were thinking about that, it might, resonate a little bit in Lake Worth Beach.
And it may,
And we're not adding a lot of cost. Anything that the cost to add is nominal. We're just added basically a little front bay to those units that would be like a small studio, and it would just be a standard unit behind it. They're not very large, but if we find during our, as we go through, this is again a visioning exercise, and if we go through that process and we find that it's not in the best interest of the city, we're not doing it for extra credit.
okay. I mean, I'm very excited about this project, so I want it to go through. I'll vote on it.
Sure.
But
Thank
you
you.
have to go to the city commission too, and they'll have
Yes.
opinions. But
Yes,
I'm fine either way.
thank you.
I'll say, I like the art concept as part of this development. I think it brings an additional amenity to the building, and more exposure to the arts. The city does have some arts focused initiatives, and I like the fact that you work that in support of that. So thank you.
Look, I would say one thing, we like art in public places. It's our signature thing. We're going to do that, whether we did these 4 lofts or not. And to your point, it doesn't necessarily, the federal tax code, it doesn't have to be a visual artist. It could be broadly in the art, it could be literary arts. So we're not pigeonholed. And again, we'll keep listening because that's what we tried to do a year ago. And we're open-minded on this, but thank you.
I just want to echo that I like the art lofts and art in public places component as well.
Thank you.
I will say, I was trying to skim through 42, and that's a bulky provision, so I'm not an expert there. So
Oh, yeah. Good luck with that. It's in 42G, and it's like one of the little subsections. I don't remember which one. I could cite it for you later.
Yeah, sorry. I think that the city of Lake Worth Beach is becoming known for as an artist mecca. And I think that this just cements our position, to try and do something a little different. And I like the idea that you found the provision and you're willing to use it if it works. And that's what we do with all of our projects here. If we can make it work, then we'll use it. If we can't, we'll move on to something else.
Right.
So I like the fact that you're willing to do that. I also read that article regarding Palm Beach additional costs to their project. And so my question is, have you guys figured out how you will work if your costs balloon over the next 2 years? Have you built that into your $40 million project cost?
We try to project forward, and we're forward. We have our own construction company that helps. So we build for ourselves. We're not going to go out to the street and bid, but we're doing stuff in real time. So we're getting real time data that maybe others, particularly small nonprofits. And remember, I'm the president of the Community Land Trust of Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast of my side. Talk about that another night. And let me just say, as a board member, I thank you for your ongoing support for what we do and these cottage homes that we're doing here in Lake Worth Beach. Back to being from Pinnacle. We're getting good real-time data. What none of us can do is fully understand the impact of all these trade negotiations that are going on right now. And that's a big variable. And I would be not intellectually honest if I stood up here tonight and said, well, yeah, I know our costs are good, because there again, although some movement is favorable in the last few days, it's still an issue where all of us in the industry are monitoring. But we believe we've built this product or similar iterations of this product. I think we have a very good handle on the design, and we have a very efficient design that, fortunately, Lucille was our design architect on Berkeley Landing. She really gets our program, and there are just some things that we do about building efficiencies that really make a difference in cost. So I can't tell you that I would say I'm comfortable with our cost estimating right now, but I can't say with 100% certainty there could be some movement up or even down. So that's the best answer I can give you tonight.
Well, I'm heartened that you own your own company, so that at least you have more control than a lot of people that are in the market today. So I feel that I feel a little better about going with, our contribution, because I know that you're going to use it well. And your background with the land trust certainly speaks for itself,
Thank you.
so, at this
Carla,
time.
Donna would like to speak, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Donna.
I think Ann actually had her hand up before me, so I will recognize
Hear you.
Commissioner
Can't hear you.
Fairfax first, and then I'll,
Donna, hang on a second. We can't hear you.
I can hear her. Can you hear me? Can you hear any of us?
I think we can only hear each other.
Yeah, we can only hear each other.
It's just not coming over the speakers here.
Uh-oh.
Okay,
That's a good metaphor, though, for,
okay. Guess they need to turn it up on their side. Okay, is there a note?
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just all I wanted to say, and Carla said it best. It's a very small. It's only 4 units, and I think it's shows the developer, cares and has a real interest in serving the community. I like that gesture, and I don't see any downside in it. It's only 4 units. I mean, if we were going to do half the units, I might, take Daniel's point, but it's really just more mixing it up a little bit, helping out the artists. And I like your idea also of maybe it's a literary artist. It could be a writer. It's not always just the visual artists who need support. So thank you for your sensitivity to the community. I like your idea also of maybe it's a literary artist, could be a writer. It's not always just
Hearing you twice.
artists who need support. So thank you for your sensitivity to the community.
Thank you.
I had a
Donna, you
question.
want to give it a try?
Go ahead.
I had a couple of points. One, Tim, great to see you again. I really appreciate how this concept has developed. It's awesome. I'm all in favor of the art in public places and preference for artist studios. Just was wondering too, and this is like, I guess, a pinnacle question writ large. When you do mixed use spaces, do you also look at the area, look at the idea of encouraging small businesses in your development? I.e., I'm thinking about DC now, it's like where I lived for many years, having dry cleaners, a bakery, something along that line, a bookstore, something that would go with the vibe that you're trying to create. And have you done that in any of your projects, and how has that worked or not? I'm thinking about DC now, it's like where I lived for many years, having dry cleaners, a bakery, something along that line, a bookstore, something that would go with the vibe that you're trying to create. And have you done that in any of your projects, and how has that worked or not?
I think we're getting a weird sort of feedback thing in here. Thanks, by the way, thanks for your kind words. And I think I got your question is that if I could summarize that, while you think the artist lofts are a good idea on 6th Avenue, have we done other types of commercial in our developments as part of a mixed use? The answer is yes. Here we have thought that because we have such a narrow throat on 6th Avenue South and not an ideal place for drive-off traffic to come into a development, that it's kind of hard to make commercial at any kind of scale in this location work. And we had a similar issue with our Berkeley Landing development in Riviera Beach. We had a very small part of US 1 that would be very hard for retailers to gain visibility. So, but in other developments of larger scale with a longer, longer presence on the corridor, and then yes, it's possible. We've definitely done it. I mentioned Pinnacle 441. We've got 5 retail bays there. We have Cricket Wireless and a State Farm agency opening this month, a restaurant by the summer, and we have 2 more in negotiations to lease those other 2 bays. So yes, We do have that experience, but we just didn't feel like we don't want to set up retail, commercial folks to fail. And so that's why we like kind of in this schematic where we're on such a narrow little stretch of corridor that we felt like a variation on our live work loft concept was best here. So that's why we kind of chose potentially the artist's preference. I hope I answered your question.
You did, thanks. And I know there's a feedback on this, so thanks.
Variation on our live work loft. Who's that guy? That's why we kind of chose potentially the artist's preference. I hope I answered your question.
You did, thanks. And I know there's feedback, so thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you for answering our questions. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion. Do we have a motion regarding this issue?
Sure. David, should we include the $640,000 funding amount in the motion?
I believe so. That's
Okay.
our request.
So I move we authorize the local match of $640,000 in funding needed to support the Pinnacle on 6 project and authorize any interlocal necessary so the funding can pass through the city.
And do we have a second?
Second.
And now I'd like to have public comment. If you'd like to make a public comment regarding this issue, please come up to the dais, to the podium.
Just give up.
Okay. Now, at this time, we normally would have discussion if there's anything else that the board would like to say, or Donna or Ann, would you like to say anything else? We can move to a vote.
I would just like to clarify that I'm not against the arts lofts. I think it's it's nice. I love artists.
We've had a motion and a second and opportunity for public comment. I'd like to take this issue to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Passes unanimously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I say one last thing first. Thank you. And now I'm going to put on a different hat. And I'm going to congratulate you on behalf of the Housing Leadership Council of Palm Beach County. Tomorrow is our Housing Heroes Luncheon. And we're really honored that tomorrow's Housing Hero for 2025 is Joe Noliva. No one deserves it more.
And some of us plan to attend, so as many of us can attend, that would be great. Because I really want her to know that we really support her. Now that we have handled all of our business for tonight, let's have the executive director's report.
Thank you. So we're having Hatch 1121 Open Studios in partnership with the Cultural Council, May 17th and 18th. I believe there's a postcard in your packet for you to see that. There's a number of galleries open throughout Palm Beach County, and we happen to be one of those. Please stop by if you can. We have, I think, 3 artists showing their work. 8. Thank goodness I have people. Also, we put in your packet a circuit ridership report. Ridership continues to grow, which is great. Especially since we're kind of coming into the summer months. I think the extension down to 12th and 12th really helped. Haven't heard any complaints about, waiting times yet. So that's certainly positive. Wanted to give you a really quick update on Village Flats to tell you that they're not ready yet. We hope, working closely with them and their attorney, that they will come back to the board at our next meeting. And then we can decide if and how we want to move forward with that particular development. They're looking for some outside financing to carry that out. And a quick update on the Gulf Stream. Just talked to the Gills the other day. They are in the middle of framing all of the windows. The windows are actually being sent down here to Lake Worth. And they're currently installing electric, fire, and HVAC. And they are close to starting the actual second building. So that's really good news. And I think that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have board member comments. We'll start over here.
I have no comments. Thank you.
Joan, I would have started my executive director's report with the announcement about the award. Just very excited about the Pinnacle development. Fingers crossed that we get that thing going. Great stuff as always. Thanks, everybody.
Daniel.
Okay. So yeah, I brought up the community garden thing because, it occurred to me it's if we are holding on to land, right? We should be doing something with it instead of just letting it kind of stay there. I think some of the complaints regarding those cottages that now will be relocated and refurbished at an enormous amount of money for supposed affordable housing. Um, we got to that point because we didn't invest anything at that time to do something with what we had. And many years passed like that, and I see this body as not a body that's in it for profit, right? Because it's not our end goal. Our end goal is to just improve our community and our neighborhoods. So uh, I feel like these investments, when we have them, we don't know how long it's going to take to develop something, right? I think a lot of people are um, surprised that it took this long, right, to develop the property that we have there at L&M now. And something as simple as a community garden seems like an obvious thing to do in a city, especially a city that, like we've just discussed now, is really caught up in promoting arts. I don't know why an activity like a communal garden isn't something that the city could get behind. I know other cities do it. I don't know I know at this juncture, of course, it's much more difficult. Having it been caught up with the development and everything like that. But it's been many years. That land has been held onto for many years, and it could have served some purpose, some type of amenity for the people. And so I truly admire the individuals who attempted to do something there at those parcels, because if anything, it served to at least remind us of what our true goal is. It's not just to develop, but it is to improve the lives of our residents in almost any way that we can, even if it's small, even if it's a placeholder. Um, so I hope moving forward that when it comes to this type of thing, we could do something in the beginning and then hold out, for a larger project later down the road. But we should always be trying to improve. The penny sales tax dollars were accumulated with the promise of delivering infrastructure or a parking garage, affordable housing, something. Um, there, and I don't know if back then there was just simply no money, but I feel as though the city and the CRA could have built a parking garage many years ago, which a lot of residents have claimed is a great need. I find that argument very interesting when we've gone so many years without it, and it's still, after all these years, such a great need. I feel like if you've gone so many years without it, maybe it wasn't that great of a need as you once thought. So moving forward, I would like to see that, we do something with the land that we have that improves the surrounding area in some way, even in a small way.
If I might. So this board, pursuant to its authority, approved contracts with W Moda to develop the property at L&M. That's consistent with your mission to eliminate slum and blight. Those properties were acquired many years ago. There were prior development plans that, for one reason or another, didn't move forward. Whether the fact that the city commission and the CRA board weren't in sync, we had COVID, and we had other development options. But at this point in time, you have contractual commitments to other parties to utilize that property. So I would not recommend that you do anything on those parcels to potentially infringe on contractual rights that other parties have. In addition, to the extent that individuals have been entering onto those properties without authorization of the CRA, they're trespassing. They're causing damage, they're causing harm, and they're not contributing to what the CRA's mission is, which is to improve slum and blight and to move forward with the development that's been approved through the existing agreements, as well as some agreements that we'll still be bringing forward to you with the city related to the transfer of property as well as the leasing of the property for the parking garage. So while I understand your concern, we do have serious legal impediments to taking any action because this board has previously acted on it, and we will continue to move forward in a manner consistent with the board's action. Thank you.
You know, it's something about getting involved in government that, you know, there's always a reason not to do something.
You are
Except,
doing something.
can I finish?
You,
Can I
you
finish?
are doing
Can I,
something. The board.
can I finish? I was,
But the
I
board has
don't,
approved.
uh,
You
Chair,
need-
can I finish just my statement?
I
He
just
can
wanna take one
respond
thing.
afterward.
Excuse
your-
It's just a general
Yeah, but
statement that I'm
your
making.
actions need to be consistent with the.
I'm not
board.
taking any actions. I'm just discussing something, stating an opinion. Could you just let me do that? You know, something that I see as is promoting blight is holding on to these parcels and these structures and not doing anything with them. I mean, they've over the years grown more dilapidated. People were intruding and trespassing and living in those cottages while we were the ones responsible for these properties. So if anything, we should be criticizing ourselves, and not these individuals who are just maybe, yes, not doing it in the proper way, but it's important. It's important. The residents want something. The government is here to accommodate and to do it. I'm sure there's a million reasons not to, but that's not the way things should work.
Okay. Did you have another point you
No.
wanted to make, Attorney? Ann and Donna, would you have a comment? Let's try this again.
Yeah, just to say that Pinnacle on 6 will be a great addition to our community, and heaven knows we need more affordable housing, so that's great. I don't know if we're entertaining your kind of whole discussion furthering upon Daniel's comment. I mean, maybe we could have a discussion another date about this. I don't know if we could do a workshop or what, but I'm hearing David Tulsis's voice ultimately saying it kind of contravenes what we can do legally with those parcels. Upon Daniel's comment, maybe we could have a discussion another date about this.
I think Donna spoke eloquently about what I would want second.
Ann, I'm sorry, did you have something? I think we weren't able to hear you.
That's okay. I'm okay.
Mhm. Whenever we have a discussion, I always feel like I'm not making a choice because I firmly believe in what I believe in. Daniel, I understand your concerns. I just don't feel that this particular property at this particular time is the action that we have to take to achieve your goal. What I'd like to do is try and have the commission to come up with a community garden. This is an idea that they can start, or if someone else wants to start a community garden, maybe we would be able to help, but go ahead.
Several.
Mm-hmm.
We've done several community gardens since I've been here,
I know.
and they all eventually nobody takes care of them.
And the reason why is because people stop taking care of them. People stop being involved in it. One of the things that I think over the next several months is as times get hard for a lot of people, that community garden may become a lot more important. You know, so if someone wants to do that, we certainly can discuss it. I'm not saying that the CRA would commit money to it, but what I am saying is we could probably rally our friends to try and do something with your idea. Your idea is not a bad one. It's just not fit for this particular property. And when you were talking about what we do and whether or not it's enough or whether or not it makes an impact, we're committing $640,000 to a project that they're paying $40 million. So we are leveraging the money that we have, and we are doing the best that we can do with what our budget can afford. And that is our mission. And we cannot lose sight of that mission because that moves us to the next level for the city of Lake Worth Beach, for the residents who live here, who depend on affordable housing, and for the city as a whole. So we cannot ever lose sight of the big picture while we argue about the lesser things. And I am certainly in favor of the community garden. If we can find a way to do it, I'm willing to talk. but come to us with an idea of this may be where it can go. This may be what we can do. And I am certainly open to the idea. And I think that most of us feel that we'll help where we can. So that's my last comment. And Joan, please go ahead.
So I just wanted to congratulate basically Renee and the whole WMOTA team for having a really successful neighborhood meeting. I thought it was a tough one to plan for, I recognize, but I think they pulled it off. Everyone was there, everyone got to see what was going on. A lot of comments were made, a lot of questions were answered. And it was I thought they just pulled off a very good meeting in a very tough situation, and I just want to congratulate them for that. And so I was just very impressed by it. Been in plenty of tough public meetings, and they did a good job with that. So just want to go ahead and say that, and thank you for a good meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye.